As we get started here with Tennessee State, just as we've been doing, if you have a question, just use the chat down there. Let me know that you have a question. I'll call on you and you can ask it. We'll start Coach off with a few general questions and then let everybody ask whatever they may have. So, Coach, just start off just a general thought on the upcoming year.
I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about this going into the third year. For the first time, we have double-digit guys returning that have been in the program. Got 10 guys that have been in the program, 8 that actually played. So it's been the times that we practiced. It's been really good to have. Don't have to repeat myself as much, and I'm just really looking forward to getting started.
Thanks, Coach. Again, if anybody has a question, don't be shy. Just let me know down there in the chat, and I will call on you. With this being anything but normal season, how do you try to keep it somewhat normal for your guys?
Constant communication. We work every day on our mental. We spend a lot of time doing PowerPoint presentations, making sure people understand this is going to have to be a year where we have to be flexible. Teams that got mental toughness and to stay disciplined and doing the right things off the court are going to be the teams in the end that are successful. So just a lot of communication. Also, we're doing a lot of listening. We're letting allowing our guys to talk and tell me how they feel about how things are going in the world. So it's just one of those things where it's just constant communication, constant listening, and showing the guys that we care about them.
Perfect, Coach. We'll go to some of these questions we got queued up. CJ, you're up first.
Hey, Coach, what's going on?
What's up, CJ?
I just have a quick question. We all know that everybody's been dealing with the pandemic. What sort of measures have you put in place to make, virtual learning or in person? How have you tried to make it as easy as possible for your players, especially the newer guys coming in?
Well, COVID has presented a lot of challenges, and I think one of the things that has happened the most is that when you on the virtual side of things, you lose that in-person feeling and get a chance to really see how they read their body language and how they're doing in person. So we went through that whole aspect during the summer and early in August, just on making sure that our guys understood the importance of getting to know each other and loving each other and us loving on them. And you couldn't do that in the beginning. Now that we're back in person, it's a lot easier. Obviously we spend time with them every day, but there's been minor adjustments. From a practice standpoint, there's all these, the CDC got all these rules, but from a practice standpoint, not much has changed for us in terms of other than, how we're going about using the locker room and showering and eating and things of that nature. But for the most part, in terms of our day-to-day, things haven't changed much.
We next move Harry Schroeder. Your turn, Harry.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
So, Father Harry.
Hey, good to see you. Hey, I wanted to ask you about Mark and Carlos, their high school teammates. Does that translate at this level, meaning they played together before, they probably have a good, chemistry? How does that translate at this level?
Well, one thing about them, they're winners. They both played together at Southland High School, and they lost in the state championship game, so they've been a part of winning their entire high school career. And they have elite chemistry. So that same chemistry has came here to TSU, and it affects winning. They were a big reason why we were able to make that jump last year. And those two young men together, they can continue on the path that we're on. We should continue. Our program should continue to get better. But I agree. Having that chemistry in high school, but also having that chemistry off the floor goes a long way.
Do they ever say, "Hey, Coach, we ran this in high school. Let's run this play"? We'll call it South Winds.
No, they never took it that far to say, "Hey, let's run this or let's do that." But they've had moments where they talked about their times in high school together and some things that they would do just from a schematic standpoint in terms of, "Hey, when I drive, I like to get it right here," things like that. So and they verbalized that out in practice before. So that comes from that chemistry.
And you guys have been so great about expanding your home crowd and the home feel and all that. And now with COVID, that will be greatly reduced. How do you try to reproduce that, if at all, at your home floor?
Oh, honestly, in the beginning, it bothered me a lot to where I just said, whatever happens, happens. Because it came to a point where we were going to have fans and we're not going to have fans. And now we're kind of settling in on our schedule and knowing that we're going to have opportunity to have fans. So the energy that was created last year was a lot of in-person, spending time with our students, a lot of giveaways. We had tailgates before the games, entertainment at our games. So a lot of those things are being taken away. So now our department is coming up with creative ways to try to get the fans here. Our students won't be here for the whole first month, month and a half of our season. So hopefully when they come back, they'll be excited to see some games. And, obviously we didn't have football this year, so they should be excited to come on campus to see some games. But I do believe that there's an anticipation of our season. And I do believe that how many number that we have, those tickets will go fast this year.
Appreciate your time. Best of luck.
Appreciate it.
We'll go back. CJ has a follow-up, and then if anybody else has one, make sure to use the chat, and I will get you called on.
So, Coach, Mikey's gone. Wesley Harris is gone. What are your expectations about some of the newcomers coming in, and how do you think their skill set's going to slide in with the returning guys that you have?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a lot in those guys: Mikey, J, Y, Wes, Emmanuel Buddha, four seniors, and we got a lot of new guys that are going to come in and hopefully fill that void. Obviously the guys we have returning, they're going to have to come in and play bigger roles. Some of our role players last year are going to have bigger roles, and then some of the new guys. You look at guys like Marcus Fitzgerald, who's right here, who's from Nashville. We're looking for him to come in and play the point and run our team, and I believe he's got the leadership qualities to do it right away as a freshman. Yusuf Muhammad is going to come in as a JUCO transfer, as well as Mason Green, who sat out last year in our front court, along with Josh Linder from Georgia State transfer. These guys are going to come in the front court and have to give us immediate help. And I'm excited about them, as well as Devontae Lanier. So with our 6 newcomers, I expect all those guys to be key contributors and help us win some games this year.
Coach, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Anybody else has one, just let me know down there. Coach, some of the other coaches have commented on this. There were 13 returning all OVC selections from last year, and there's only 3 of those are seniors. So it obviously speaks to the depth and the talent. And just in your short time in the OVC, what you've seen and how we've built up this level of talent already?
Well, my first year, we got 2 teams into the NCAA tournament. We had 2 first-round draft picks. We just had the Rookie of the Year. And then going into year 2 last year, I thought it was it was even better league top to bottom. The teams at the top are the teams at the top, but the teams that came in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, 12th are just as talented. And now I think there's going to be the gap is going to continue to close. Going into this year, I believe that our league could be one of the toughest mid-major leagues in the country. We have elite coaching. We have elite players. Some of these guys in this league are NBA prospects. I want to say a handful of them even entered the draft this year. Our league is going to be the type of league that should have a potentially to get multiple teams in the NCAA tournament this year. We've done it before. I think this is a year we could do it again. Now, it's obviously in COVID, it's a situation where we're not playing as many at-large games and money games. And, they're going to probably – our strength of schedule won't be as strong as a Power 5. But I do truly believe that the OVC is a multi-bid league this year. And moving forward, staying on the same path that we on, I believe we could be what the Valley was when they were putting 2 and 3 teams into the NCAA tournament. The OVC has that type of coaching, fan support, and talent. So hopefully we can continue on this path, and every team in the league continues to grow and get better. And I think it'll be great for our conference.
And to follow up on that, now you have to play 2 more conference games. So you'll play 2 more games against some of that top talent. So just your opinion on the 20-game schedule this year.
Well, I'm excited about it because the OVC conference, they hopped out in front of it and said, we want to make sure that our conference teams play games this year. And the 20-game schedule I was 100% on board with it from the jump. You know, the way we went about doing it with the flex schedule, you know, obviously having to play Belmont early in the year. I'm not the biggest fan excited about playing the reigning champs so early, but that's part of it. And I'm excited the direction of our league. Beth and everybody in the conference office did an unbelievable job of putting it together. And I'm just looking forward to getting started.
We go next to Rocco Miller. Rocco, go ahead with your question.
Hey, Coach Collins, Rocco Miller, bracketshere.org. I've noticed Tennessee State and other HBCUs over the summer start to show up on a lot of high recruiting top 10, top 5 lists. It's got to be very exciting for you in the program. I know you can't comment specifically on any players, but just in general, you know, what's that transition been like to see such a large interest in the program and in HBCUs in general, and what does it mean, you know, to you and HBCUs in general to see a guy like Maker go to Howard, and what does the future look like? Does that kind of help you see this as your long-term job instead of maybe a step up to the larger leagues?
Yeah, well, Rocco, I appreciate that question. It's many layers to it. The first thing I say is that, you know, what happened in our country is what sparked the mindsets of the youth to be curious about what's going on in African-American communities. And naturally, HBCUs are a part of the African-American community. So there was a lot of attention going towards HBCUs, and the young student athletes, they wanted to know more. And, you know, nothing has really changed. I can only speak for Tennessee State as a HBCU. Nothing has changed for us in terms of how we're going about recruiting. It's just that some of the quote unquote top ranked players in the country, they want to know more about Tennessee State and HBCUs. And it was a really, really cool to see that shift of people just wanting to know more. And that's why, you know, some of those young men, you saw those lists, you know, and that was good to see. In the grand scheme of things, will it help us become like this top ranked team in the country eventually? That remains to be seen. That's not gonna, I haven't, you know, I've said this multiple times that it's not my first time recruiting, you know, top ranked players. It's just now they want to know more, you know, that and nothing's going to change now. It's not going to make me recruit them more or recruit them less. It's just now they want to know the education and the history of the HBCUs. And if they call me or get in touch with me, I'll be glad to tell them. I'll be glad to read that list down to them. And hey, Rocco, if you don't mind, ask me the last part of your question, because I really wanted to answer that, but I forgot the last piece of your question. Your last question.
Yeah, the last piece of the question is more just like job stability, right? You've just done a tremendous amount of work in these last 2 years. From my perspective, you went from 9 wins to 18 wins last year. You're now in the top 5 or 6, you know, in the standings last year, and an opportunity to make another leap this year. Plus, you got the recruiting thing on your side. So I'm just curious, like, does this, you know, what would a recruit or two mean to you to stay long term at Tennessee State instead of take an offer from a larger program?
Yeah, that's a great question too. And I said this in my press conference, and I'll say it again today. When I got the Tennessee State job, it was my dream job. So if we get, you know, if that happens and we turn this program into the type of program that 5-star kids want to come to every year, that won't sway my decision one way or the other. This is the place that I want to be. It's my dream place to be. I'm from the city of Nashville, and I couldn't be more excited to be the head coach at Tennessee State, man. So, you know, but that is a dream too of mine. One of them was to be the head coach at Tennessee State. The second dream is to make Tennessee State one of the best mid-major basketball programs in the country. And if we get to that place where people are talking about it like that, then we can check that box off too.
We're going to go to Harry with a follow-up question, and then back to CJ.
Yeah, I just want to ask you about Shaquille. What do you expect for him this year? I mean, he gave you such a solid season a year ago. Is there a blossoming still out in front of him, or just does he need to just continue to do what he does because he does it so effectively?
Yeah, you know, Shaquille was a JUCO transfer, and really excited to get him last year. And I knew he would have a big season. I want to say, I don't have the stats in front of me, but he's one of the only players on our team that started every single game. And he led the conference in field goal percentage. And he was a really one of the top front court players in the league. And going into this year, his senior year, there should be no change. I expect him to take another leap forward. I feel like he could be a fringe double guy in the OVC. He's a tough guy. He's grew into a leader this year as a senior. One of the best stories I can tell you is walking into practice and him telling people what to do during stretching, and him correcting people before I correct them on the sideline. I mean, he's turned up his leadership. He knows his role is bigger, and I'm expecting a lot out of Shaquille going into this year. For us to be a team that can compete for OVC championship, Shaquille has to take another step up. So I do not need him to be the same player he was last year. I'm going to need him to continue on the path he's on right now, and I feel like he can have a really, really big time senior year.
You and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but really there are like maybe 5 or 6 teams that could win the OVC championship this year. It's a very unique season.
Yeah. So, Harold, we one of those teams? Are you saying?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Man, I would agree with you. I just look at our league and I look what Matt has done in Murray State, and it's inspiring. What Rick Bird set the tone for at Belmont, and Casey Cumming took the torch. And, Austin P. Matt Figure, walked into a situation where he turned that team into an immediate OVC contender. And then me and AW being in both in our going into our third years, and we're trying to knock on that door too. We want to sit at the table. So that's the beauty of this league, and that's why I said it before and I'll say it again. I want people in NCAA to look at the OVC like they looked at the Valley when they were rocking and rolling. We had that type of talent.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Then we'll go to CJ with the follow-up, and if anybody else has one, let me know. We have a couple more minutes with Coach.
Coach, I know that with everything that was going on nationwide this year, there were a lot of I'm assuming there were a lot of very interesting conversations between you and your players regarding social justice, racial inequality. What were those conversations like, and where do you think that your players have grown and begun to listen in regards to that?
Obviously it's a tough subject to talk about, because what a lot of people had dealt with for the moment that happened in that moment, we deal with it all the time. Tennessee State, us being an HBCU, our young men being on this campus representing Tennessee State, the historic tradition that we have, a lot of people were looking for answers. And I did find some inspiration and some solace in getting calls from other coaches wanting to know how we were dealing with it. How should they feel as head coaches? How should they talk to their teams? And the conversation that we had was, Coach, I get it, man. But we've been dealing with this. A lot of people are saying things and posting things for now, but are they still going to be talking about it 2-3 months from now? And that was a lot of my team's frustration, that it came off as if it was just a fad. And I would tell them every day, let's control what we control, and let's be that light. Let's spread that light. Let's be a positive light to anybody that sees Tennessee State or looks at us as the example of how to act in this environment. And our guys have taken that torch and they ran with it. I've been extremely proud of them, how we've handled things. Even during this time with the election, where there's so much division that was going on in our country and things of that nature. And our guys have done an unbelievable job. We talk about it a lot. And it's something that I'm proud to say that our young men have really shown pride and honor in representing not only Tennessee State, but the African-American culture and everything that we do, and doing it the right way.
And then we have one from Logan, and then we'll transition to the student athletes. So Logan, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Logan Hansen here with Best Version Media Sports. Just a question on Carlos Marshall. He was the only member of your team to make the all OVC team, preseason team there. Just what are your expectations for him, not as just a player on the court there, but as a leader on the team this season?
He's our all-league guy. We need him to be an all-league guy this season as well. He was second team. He needs to be a guy on that first team this year. He was our leading scorer last year. He's our returning leading scorer. We need him to be that again for us this year. His voice has been key for us right now. I love hearing his voice in practice. I like to see his jump shot go in too, but I like his voice a whole lot better. Guys follow his example. They know that he's been in big games and he's helped us win big games. And so he has to just stay on that path. To me right now, Carlos's biggest deal is to do it every single day. When he gets to a point where he's doing it every single day and it just becomes a habit, then he'll take off even further than what he is right now. But Carlos Marshall, he's our guy. He's our all-league guy. I got a lot of faith in him. I believe in him. And if he can be the guy that we expect him to be, our program is heading in the right direction.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, appreciate your time this afternoon, and best of luck to you and your team this year.
All right, thank you.
Everybody will hold on. We're going to transition to sophomore guard Mark Freeman. He will be joining us to take your questions in just a sec. So if you do have a question for him, just use that chat down there, and we will get the questions asked. Mark, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. We hear you. We'll start off with a couple easy ones and then see what questions we have for our media. Starting first, just personally, what are you most looking forward to this season?
Really just getting better as a unit, really making it to March, making it to the tournament, making it to the OVC championship, winning. That's what I'm looking forward to.
What do you like most about your team as a collective whole this year?
I would say the most thing I like about the team is just we're together. We're close on and off the court. We just feel like brothers, like real brothers. So that's what I like.
And how important was that brotherhood and that family atmosphere during the pandemic, especially when you all were away from each other? How did you help support each other during that time?
It was simply one call away, really. We got our bond early throughout the summer during the pandemic. So it was really easy, really.
I've got one more and then we'll go to our questions here. What did you, when you got to TSU last year, is there something you played the season? Is there something that you learned about yourself that maybe you weren't expecting to entering college?
I wouldn't say for myself, I would say transferring from high school to college D1 is not easy. It's a difficult task. I would say I just had to adapt and learn from them.
We'll go to some of our questions here. First, CJ, if you want to ask your question, and then Harry, you're on deck.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
It's a good day. It's a good day. Where would you say?
Yes.
Where would you say your game has grown most over the offseason? Where do you think that you focused your most necessary improvements?
I would say first my leadership. My leadership is taking a big step from last year to this year. And for me personally, I would think my jump shot and decision making, of course.
All right.
We'll go next to Harry. Harry, your question.
Hi, Mark. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your relationship with Carlos. You guys have been together a long time. Talk about your chemistry on the floor, your friendship, etc.
I'll start with my friendship with him. We've been knowing each other since like middle school, so it's like my brother really. So it's like the friendship is there, like in and out, and chemistry is crazy. We've been playing since middle school, so the chemistry is there. Everything is there with me and Los.
Like, is there times when you're just on the floor and you know he's about to hit you with the pass or vice versa? You know where he's going to be, that kind of thing.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
And then can you tell us a little bit about some of the newer players on your team, guys you're getting used to, and what you're seeing in some of the newcomers?
I'm gonna start off with Yus from West Seattle. Yusuf Muhammad. He's a great versatile. He can play 3, 4, 5. I love him. He can shoot the tray. He's very versatile. And we got Josh Linder from Georgia State. He's a beast down there in the post area. We got Mason Green coming in. He sat out last year. he's a great 5, great big for us. And incoming freshman Evan, learning every day. He's getting more comfortable every day with us, and just the feel of D1. And I think my last one is Amari Womack. He redshirted last year. He's just gonna be our engine really. Gonna keep us going.
Now you're a broadcasting major, so at practice, are you announcing the game while you're playing it as well?
I try to, as much as I can.
Appreciate your time. Stay safe out there.
Thank you, y'all too.
So CJ with a follow-up.
Yes, Mark, when you were talking about a lot of those newcomers, the one common thread that I was noticing were length. A lot of these guys are really long, really athletic. Where do you think that will help the team the most?
I think that will help the team defense, really. Defense, we're small, but we're not, well, the length, I wouldn't say we're small, but the length's going to help us a lot on D because it's just getting deflects on the ball, more turnovers, more steals.
Anybody else has a question for Mark, just put it down there in the chat. To follow up on the question from earlier too, and you said what you learned just going from high school to Division I basketball. What were your impressions of the competition level in the OVC and some of the other teams that you played against last year?
I would say the competition level is really elite, and I would say it's very underrated. I think in the OVC, it's a lot of talented guys in our conference, and I just think we're all overlooked, to be honest. So the conference is tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. That's all I can say.
Anybody else? Anything for Mark? We got time for probably one more question if anybody has one. All right, well, Mark, thank you for your time this morning or this afternoon now, and best of luck to you and your teammates this year.
Thank you. Thank y'all.